Blog Talk Radio.
Friends, welcome one and all to another episode of Magic Universe with Sharonah. And I am your radio host and magical mama, Sharonah Rapseik. I'm an artist and designer of the soon-to-be-released Boho Pixie Tarot and author of its guidebook, The Little White Dog. And I'm also a tarot master, teacher, scholar, reader, and an angel Reiki master and spiritual life coach. And I am a teacher of the magical and intuitive arts, and I am coming to you live from the Big Apple, New York City, where it is an absolutely glorious sunny day. And tonight, the moon will be in Aquarius and making it the perfect time for hanging out with friends, networking, catching up on all those current events that are going on, and maybe updating your tech gear and getting involved in worthy causes. Okay, and I am so happy that you are joining me here today. This little radio show is all about awakening and embracing your inner personal power and self-confidence and creating magic and miracles in all areas of your life, just simply by using a little bit of help from our angels and guides and, of course, the divine and loving conscious energy of what I like to call the magical universe that we are all each a part of. So, are you ready to live your magic? Are you ready to be who you really are? Then you're going to want to join me during this hour, and I'm going to invite you to step power and awaken your true magic. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to let everyone know that Magic Universe with Sharonah is a live call-in radio show. And here we talk about many wonderful topics such as angels, crystals, energy healing, tarot and oracle cards, astrology. We're going to be talking with our special guest about the moon today. And we talk about synchronicity, how to raise your energy. And this is all so that each and every one of you have good high vibrations. Because when we raise our vibrations, we are able to generate and create and attract more love and magic into our lives. Now, I just want to let you know that Magic Universe is on the air live, always on the second and fourth Sunday of each and every month. Now, this is a live call-in show, so if any of my listeners out there would like to call in to say hello, or they're interested in a free mini tarot reading or an angel message or maybe a little bit of angel Reiki, I will be able to take one or two of your calls. And you can also, I'll be looking at the posts that will be in the chat room. I'll let you know more about how our chat room works in a few minutes. So once again, the call-in number is 714-816-4628. Now that's to listen. But if you want to be live on the air, you need to let me know. You need to actually raise your hand, and you do that simply by pressing the number 1 on your phone keypad after you get into the queue and you're listening. Because what this will do is it will flag you on the switchboard, and I will know that you want me to take your call and that you're not just listening in, because we get a lot of people who like to listen in on their phone as well as on their computer. And I know that we have people that are also listening in through the Tarot Guild. And there we have a what's known as a chat room. So periodically I'll be looking in there to see if there's anything going on in the chat room that that I can help with. So remember, if you have called in, I do take calls in the order that they come in. So don't hang up. If I don't get to you right away, hang in there, because then you'll drop to the bottom of the queue when you call back in. Okay, so we've taken care of all that, and we can get ready to move into all of the fun stuff. So I want to say, okay, are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to get your magic on? Okay. I am so happy because today we have a real special guest that I know you're absolutely going to love her. Her name is Victoria Constantino, and Victoria is a longtime practitioner and seeker of visionary wisdom. And after more than a decade as an editor and publisher of visionary fiction and nonfiction, she is focusing on her writing and her spiritual practice. Now, she attended the University of Oxford, and she holds a master's degree in writing. And her previous publications have included poetry and fiction and instructional guides for a business publisher. But today, we are going to be talking about her book, which I have read cover to cover, and I really love it. It's called Tarot and the Moon, and spreads and spells for every month of the year. So without further ado, I want to welcome Victoria Constantino. Hi, Victoria. Hi.
Hi. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I am delighted. I know that everyone is going to want to know all about your book, Tarot by the Moon, because, hey, just in that title, it has two of my favorite things, tarot cards and the moon.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's absolutely magical. And I always start off when I have someone on my show. The show is all about love and magic. And I'm always curious when we have someone like yourself, how do you bring love and magic into your life?
Oh, well, that's such a big question. I'm not sure where to start with it, but I think, you know, that sort of thing is so unique for each one of us and where we are in our path at any given moment. You know, I love using tarot to bring, you know, a little clarity into my life, and, you know, that's not really fancy or, you know, really where the magic is, but, you know, I think when we have that guidance, you know, it helps us a little bit to tune in to our intuition, and I think that's really where the magic is. It's definitely within, as far as I see it, you know. So I find the magic, I look for it within, and go from there.
Well, you know, book is about the moon, and to me, all my life, when I look up at the moon, even here in the middle of New York City, it's a moment of great magic. You know, the moon is, you know, it's so beautiful, and it has, besides its beauty, it has, you know, you can feel its tremendous influence on each of us, as well as, you know, the animals and plants and the ocean. You know, its rhythm and its phases are such, I don't know, you can feel it. So why don't we start right there? I mean, how has, obviously one of its influences is it's got you to write this wonderful book. So tell us about your journey.
Yeah. I remember being a child, and I was very small, and my mother was holding me up. It was somewhere out in the country you could really see the stars. And, the moon was just so full and bright, and it had to have been a full moon, and it might have been a super moon, but it just seemed so close, and I thought, if only I could reach a little higher. I was crying for her to hold me up so I could kiss the moon. I've always felt that magnetic pull to the moon, and one of my given names actually means moon goddess, and so I've always felt this special kinship to the moon, and have always just really felt drawn to it. It influences so much in our lives, not only the tides, but I guess this is open for debate, but births. And people's behavior, and it just is a powerful influence over our lives. I think humans have had a long-held affinity with the moon and have just been fascinated with it for such a long time. And I guess I'm no exception. I've always loved the moon.
Yeah, well, I mean, when scientifically we know that the moon influences the ocean and the tides. And, how it, crops and plants and birds are all influenced by the moon. It's something that you can't ignore. It's there with its beauty and its power.
Absolutely.
And
I think,
yeah.
And with this book, I thought, well, let me take two of my favorite things, tarot and the moon, and, how can I merge those? So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think everyone in our audience, they're familiar with tarot because we often talk on the show about tarot cards. But I think maybe they might have some questions about the moon. So one of the things, maybe that they're not familiar with is the moon, like us, it goes through rhythms and cycles and phases. And, it's not always the same, it repeats them, but when you look up at the sky, the next day the moon is a little bit different. So can you enlighten us a little bit about the phases of the moon?
Of course. So I kind of look at it this way, where the new moon is like the dark, fertile soil in which we plant a seed, and that seed would be our intention. As the moon progresses through its phases up to the full moon phase, that seed is gestating and growing, so our intentions are growing. And so it's symbolic and it's energetic, where we can set intentions at that point. And really, of course, we can set intentions at any time, but when we're supported by this powerful force of nature, it supports us even more energetically. And so that's one way I like to work with the moon and the phases, waxing and waning. So when the moon is waxing, it's growing. That's when we can work on things in our own lives that we're trying to build, see increase or gather momentum. And then, of course, when it's waning, it's, past the full moon phase, going back into the new moon phase, or headed towards the new moon, or headed towards the dark moon. So it's, the light is decreasing at that point, and that's where we can really let go of things that are unwanted in our lives, or, maybe relationships, or, clearing energies that we wouldn't want in our lives anymore. That sort of thing, just it helps us in that way.
Yeah, that's so perfect when you think about it. I know always tell people, they go, when is the new moon? And that's when the moon, you hardly, there's always the dark moon that right before the new moon where you don't see it. and then then the moon is slowly growing and, moving into its first quarter, which is when it looks actually like a half moon. And then, of course, we all know when it's the full moon and when it reaches its peak. And then, it starts getting small again, and that's when it's known as a waning moon. But I love what you say, that when it's getting smaller, the waning part, that's when you release. You release, things that we want to clear and let go. And then before you know it, it starts again. It starts its new cycle. Although there are unique moons, we have names for the moons in each month, and different cultures give them different names. And what I love is sometimes we have an extra moon, which is the blue moon, which I really didn't understand how that worked until I looked at your book. So maybe you can tell everyone, what it means when we have a blue moon.
Sure. So blue moons only come around every so often. So it's called a blue moon, not because of the color, but because it would be the second full moon that occurs in a month. And so that happens rarely. But, energetically, ways we can work with blue moons, because it is unique and rare. If there's something that is really special to us, or, something we've kind of been ruminating over and waiting for the right time to do, I think blue moons are a good time to do that. They support us energetically, with helping manifest. It's really magical to me to have a blue moon. I think of it as something that's really special because it's rare. It only comes around every so often, and so that's a good time to work on something that's really special.
Awesome. And it looks like, do we usually have like 13 moons in a year, or are there some years where we might even have 14? Does that ever happen, or is it usually 13?
Yeah, I think it's 13. I would have to consult, but I think the blue moon only comes around every year and a half or every 2.5 years. But it's rare enough that we have sought to give it a name and really make it something special. So
yeah, and I'm just looking through your book, and we do have a full moon. That for everyone who's not sure when I always recommend to people that they get a calendar or a almanac, or I think the fancy word is ephemeris, and so that they can kind of plan out and work with the moon. And it looks like we have our next full moon is on the 18th of March, if I'm not mistaken, looking at my calendar. And that one is the worm moon. So can you tell us a little bit about why it's called the worm moon?
Of course. So, of course, and as you mentioned, there are many different names for the full moons, and I took some of the ones that are most commonly known, but I tried to include some of the additional names. But with the worm moon, it was called that because, it's spring is right around the corner, and the worms are beneath the soil, aerating and preparing it so that the seeds can grow stronger, when the warmer weather hits. And so, those worms are kind of beneath the surface doing their work, and it's very important work. It's unseen, it's hidden, but it's so crucial to growth and life. And, I think this is, it's rather symbolic, actually. So this is a great time for anyone who's maybe working on anything that's, maybe hidden, subconscious, trying to clear out or rewrite beliefs that maybe aren't serving them anymore. Anything that's some of that inner work that we do by ourselves. It's so important. It's some of the most important work we can do, but it's very private. It's very personal. It's unseen, and but it prepares us energetically in some really important ways.
Yeah, it's we we become like the little worms that are aerating the soil in many ways, that we are doing our important function of, preparing the earth for the opportunities and the growth that takes place. So that's really, really cool when you think about all that. Now, I know that in your book, you have spreads and spells that you incorporate for each moon, and probably would be good if you could tell us what, we know what tarot cards are, but what exactly are spreads? When you card into a spread, what exactly is that?
So spreads are a way of guiding our focus and attention, and it's really an arrangement of the cards. It's very a simple way to put it. So you may be laying them out in, for example, a Celtic cross spread, which is in the sort of the shape of a cross, and that's one of the more traditional ones. But with the spreads in Tarot by the Moon, I really wanted to come up with something unique because I, kind of was really acclimated to these really traditional spreads that I learned on, when I was younger and first picked up my first pack of tarot cards. And, then it was sort of everywhere. And I thought, well, let's come up with something new, something I wanted it to be creative and interesting. And, there's one in the book that's in a spiral shape. And the intention with that is really to help you focus, as you're flowing into the spiral, you're going inward, you're looking within. You could also reverse it and go from the inside out, depending on your intentions. And so with these spreads, there are some guidance questions that you can ask that correspond with each card you lay in the spread. And so, I also emphasize in my book that, the questions are really just suggestions more than anything. You can always tailor them according to what you feel you most need in the moment. You may want to ask something different or be a little more specific, or even add questions and cards to the spread. So it's very customizable. But spreads, in short, are just I think a way of helping us to really focus our attention so that we can get the most out of the meaning and interpretation of the cards.
Yeah, your spreads are absolutely beautiful. I'm looking at your book, and I'm looking at for the March moon, and you have one where it's 10 cards, and it's called Sprouts Unfurling. So it's just, it's like a beautiful design, but yet it brings into our intention that you're looking for what you want to sprout in your life. And then you also have another one for the March moon where it's the abundance vine. And it's also with 10 cards, but the pattern looks like a vine that is growing, and it's all about how vines represent strength and a source of abundance, and growing a fruit. And I love that you bring in about how in ancient times the Druids, how they saw a vine as being a symbol of fertility and connection. So everything is so well thought out in your book. I love what you have here, and also you talk about rituals, and maybe that might be something that might be new to our listeners. So maybe you can tell us a little bit how rituals play as far as working with the moon.
Oh, yes. Rituals are, it's another way of focusing your intention. And, it's also very, I think, personal as far as, some prefer to do rituals, or a ritual can be as simple as lighting a candle, or, but when you're working with the moon phases, I come back to when the moon is, when the light is growing, it is, in the waxing phase. And so that's when you're working on increase and abundance. And then when it's waning, or the light is decreasing, you're working on letting go and clearing and that sort of thing. And so our rituals can align with that. And so we're, again, working with the power, the energy of the moon in order to support our intention, our work, whatever it is we're focused on in these rituals. So we can align them, they're most potent and powerful in my experience anyway, when we align our intentions with the moon phase.
Absolutely. Well, it's almost like the moon goes through a dance or a ritual too. It's doing its rituals in the sky. But I love one of the things that I highlighted in your book is that you have that that also rituals, they help us create change and honor our allies and connect with them and create sacred space, just to really change, our focus, that we realize that we're doing something important. I think one of the things that we're all, and I know I'm guilty of it, we try to multitask and do multiple things at once. And what I love in your book is with the rituals, it's about when you're doing the ritual, that's what you're concentrating on. You're not, you're not multitasking. And anything that can get us, it's great sometimes to multitask because we're busy. But sometimes, it's pretty cool to kind of concentrate and focus on one thing if that thing is important to you. Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah. Right. And multitasking is the enemy of productivity, so in my opinion, that's great to focus.
Maybe we should have a ritual to multitask. You need to come up with that one.
Might be a ritual to stamp out all multitasking.
Yeah. Yep. But I love how you have, when you audience, when you get Victoria's book, she really goes into, how to work with the cards. I'm assuming that most people, that are listening in, they know about how the cards are in different suits and in the court cards. What I also love is I'm into numerology. That's the other thing that I love besides Terra and the Moon, and that you also get into the numeric correspondence, which is another little layer that you can add to this all.
Definitely. Yeah. And I love numerology. I've just found it so richly rewarding. Was really feeling guided to it quite a few years ago, and I thought, I'm going to study this a little bit and kind of understand it a little more, because at that point I was seeing a lot of repeating numbers, and I thought, okay, what does it mean? And then in the cards too, sometimes, you'll have repeating numbers in a single spread, and I just wanted to dig in a little bit more to that. So I felt that was important to include in the book because, as you said, it's another layer through which we can interpret meaning from the cards, and that's ultimately why we read. It's to interpret meaning, to understand, to get, clarity or tap into our intuition, but in addition to the symbolism and the colors on the cards and that sort of thing, numerology is another really wonderful layer to kind of look at, just explore a little bit. And I know some readers really don't use the numbers or take those into account at all, but we're all different. I think we all gain different things from the interpretations and look for different things, and that's okay too.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about numbers is, they're like they become like a universal language. Tarot and is a language, but numbers, whether or not you read tarot cards or not, there's wherever you go today, there are numbers. You can't. Yes. They're the one thing that's constant, and it's like kind of funny. Like me, I live in New York City, and like someone who might live in the country where they go, oh, I saw a robin, or I saw, a flower. You walk around New York City and there's just numbers everywhere. And then when you start seeing, hey, wait a minute, I'm seeing a lot of that truck had a number 4 on it, and then I saw a license plate with 4s on it. What's going on here? This has become the modern day nature oracle is our numbers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you wonder, and it's interesting. Numbers, wherever you go in the world, they use, basically the basic, Arabic inspired numbers. Like you could recognize a 1 or a 2. And I even have a friend. We were getting into how like the shape of a number actually kind of, goes with its meaning. Like how like a 4 looks kind of like a chair, and how an upside down chair. So that's something you sit on. You might pause, and you might, it's a structure that you plant your butt on, and then you start looking at the number 4 and go, there's structure, there's order, and how, it's not just the emperor card who's sitting on the throne. Then you start looking at the other 4s in the minor arcana, and you go, people are, sitting down, or they're pausing, and he looks like a pretty structured person. So there's probably some cards in there where he really means business, as far as the structure and the order. We won't go to. I think we know what card we're headed for there, but that's all structure and order. And of course, there's all the symbols that are in the cards. And I love in your book how, you do go through understanding the symbols, which is a good thing, because I think a lot of people, when they start exploring the cards, they start, just memorizing the words. But it's like, no, look at the picture too. What does a throne mean to you? What does this mean to you? And I love that you have that in there also. Now, I know that you also get into about days of the week. So you might want to tell our listeners a little bit about days of the week and how that's also a factor that you can utilize.
Yeah, I really I love that too, because the days of the week are associated with maybe different gods. Thursday, Thor, and let's see, Friday is Freya, and Sunday the sun. And so, you've got these different energetic influences that you can work with in the days of the week. And, I've always looked at like Wednesday, that, funny little midweek day as kind of a turning point because of where it's placed. So you can also sort of look at the placement of it in the week. I know Saturday, I believe, is associated with Saturn, and that's, associated with banishment. So, clearing or releasing anything, if you believe in that sort of thing, curse breaking or, that sort of thing, just, releasing and letting go and clearing out is associated with Saturday. So just those different energetic influences that we can use to work with. So that's kind of, supplementary to the moon phases. And then when you look at, okay, well, I'm on a Saturday and, the moon is full, or, it's waning, that can help me in other ways too. So you can, just, I guess, use both of them together in order to create more of an impact So I think it's just fascinating, what you can do with it. Some people don't work with the days of the week in that way at all, but I did want to include it at least as a reference point. So, it's just additional information you can use if it resonates.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it seems like, what I love about, working with all of these, the moon and all these different factors, we need all the help we can get, you're trying to manifest. So doesn't mean that, hey, if it's not exactly perfect astrologically that you're not going to do your work and do your manifestation, but it's nice to know that, you've got all these, additional things that are working for you. Yeah. Yeah, your book is beautiful. I love, as I said, the spreads are so pretty because they make different shapes, and it's so well thought out, and it's everything in there from turning chaos into order, and letting go, and for people who aren't familiar with those terms, I know you have a word in there about cutting cords. So maybe you can explain what cutting cords is all about and why that might be something we might want to do a ritual and a spell. Well, the word too is the word we didn't talk about the word spell and what a spell is. I know that on the show I talked about spell in terms of the words that you say, but that they create an intention. But I'd love to, hear how you define what a spell is and why it's important to do a spell and what exactly that is.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I think, with spell, you think of it associated with the word spelling, and it's just, setting that intention or laying something out. It's the use of language to really direct your focus and intention toward a certain goal or outcome. And I think rituals and spells are, really often used interchangeably. It just kind of depends on your approach, I think, how you choose to refer to it. But, with the spells, that's, I think a lot of us just do them anyway, even if we don't define ourselves as, pagans or, Wiccans or practitioners of any sort. If you, depending on what tradition you're in, if you light a candle and say a prayer, maybe for the health of a loved one, that's, another way of, it's kind of similar, you're setting an intention and taking an action to create a specified outcome. And, it's all kind of one and the same. And so, yeah, I think it's good to help us to focus our intention really to create some manifested outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your dedication in the book where you have this book is for seekers, for change makers, and for those who endeavor to understand the universe in which they find themselves. And that's really beautiful. You can do a mic drop after that.
Thank you.
You summed it up so beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're all, everyone here, I know who's listening in, that we're the seekers. And, there are changes that are happening, and there's changes that we want, there's changes that we want to see happening. We don't want to go, there's changes that we don't want to go back to, and we want to move forward. And the fact that also in the process of working with your book, you understand the universe, which includes the moon, and we find ourselves here in this moment. So I can't say it any better than that. You said it perfectly. Do you have any other books and projects coming up that we can look forward to?
I am working on one that's related to divination, but it is in the very, very nascent stages at the moment. So, I think, people can look forward to something from me In the relatively near future, this one is going to be a little bit more research-based, whereas Tarot by the Moon was more channeled, a little lighter on the resources because I didn't want too many outside influences. So I used a lot of resources I was already familiar with that I used to create my own background and a foundation of understanding for this work. Such as Christopher Pinzak's books and that sort of thing, which I had already had in my toolkit for a few years prior to writing the book. And so, but the next one I think is going to be a little bit more, really looking into the history, why people throughout the ages have chosen to engage in certain practices, the quest for understanding.
I can't wait to see it. And
thank you.
Yeah, where can people find your book? It's absolutely beautiful. It's published by Llewellyn, who they put together a really beautiful book. So where can people find your book? Because I know they're going to want to go out and get one right away.
So my book is sold online in all major retailers, of course, from the Llewellyn website. And you can also find it at some of the, of course, metaphysical shops in your area or the bigger chain bookstores. But if you don't see it in the bookstore where you like to shop, I would say please reach out to the sales staff and ask them to order a copy, because that helps the publisher and it also helps the author. And they're more likely to stock it if they see there's a demand for it. And so it also, kind of helps others in a way, because if they're stocking it, it gets the word out a little bit more and others can find it too. So, yeah.
Yeah, we want to support the bookstores out there. There are, people, we kind of got away, particularly during the pandemic, from going shopping in bookstores, but I'm so glad that they're coming back. Nothing will replace being able to, go into a store and pick up a book, and flip through it and go, oh, I want that one, and oh, there's another one over there. I got to get that one too. And we want to keep those bookstores around, most definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
And as far as following what you do, Victoria, how can our listeners follow you and, learn and keep up with the things that you're doing? Do you have a website that you want to share with everyone? And I'll make sure that we also put it out for everyone to be able to follow you. No, I think they already did. I think it's already into the head of Psychic Talk Radio. I think he already put a click to on it, but you might want to give that out right now.
Okay,
How
great.
Can they find you?
So I'm on victoriaconstantino.com and also on Facebook as Victoria Constantino Author, where I post readings, tarot readings and interpretations, and also on Instagram, Tarot by the Moon, and each word is separated by underscores, so tarot underscore, by underscore, etc. And I'm also victoria.constantino.author on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, I think you're going to get lots of followers and lots of friends. And thank you so much for joining us today. I know that I learned a lot, and I know that our listeners have learned a lot. And just want to tell everyone, if you want a really wonderful book that you're going to use and you're going to enjoy looking at, because they did, Llewellyn, they did a beautiful job on your book. It's glorious. I mean, and how it's laid out with the spreads. So we need to thank them too. But folks, you're going to want this book, and you're going to want to follow Victoria Constantino. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here, and it was great talking with you. Thank you.
We love you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Blessings.
Many blessings and moon blessings. And I know that, I do think this conversation that we have has changed people's lives. We know something more, and we have another wonderful resource. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, everyone. Wasn't that a wonderful interview? And I do know that there's some information there that hopefully will enrich and change your life. But before we get to some calls, I need to let you know what's coming up here this week on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. So want to let you know that tomorrow, Monday, February the 28th, and can you believe it? February is almost over. Oh, my goodness. It is a short month, but boy, 2 months into the year. So on Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and wherever you are in the world, it's going to be a slightly different hour, but we have an absolutely wonderful offering coming up. Let me just take a sip of water. So we have a show. It's called The Wisdom of the Soul Show, and that's with host Janice Fuchs. And that's just a wonderful show to tune into. And I need to let you know that our wonderful angel channel and healer, Catherine Hahn, she's on break, but she'll be back, not tomorrow, but the following week with Spiritual Guidance Radio. And so she'll be back, and she will be back on Monday, March the 7th. And you're going to love, you probably already know about Catherine, and she's just really wonderful. You can call in, and she channels the archangels and your guardian angels. So mark your calendar that she will be back on Monday, March the 7th. And later on this coming week, on Saturday, March the 5th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, there is a Rock for That is the show that will be coming up with host Mary Brown. And Mary Brown, she's going to be doing open lines and free crystal readings all show long, but she has a special crystal guest, lapis lazuli. And I love lapis lazuli. It's a really pretty stone or crystal, but I love that. I love saying lapis lazuli. And just to let you know that I will be back with Magic Universe with Sharonah in 2 weeks, and that will be on Sunday, March the 13th. And I am just going to have a really wonderful special guest. His name is Scott Martin, and he's going to be talking about, he has a background in theater, and he's going to be talking about how, like in theater, you can bring the tarot to life. So I know that for all my tarot friends out there, this will be another tool and resource where you can love and appreciate tarot even more. So you want to be with me in 2 weeks. And I always like to let people know so that they can mark their calendars. Remember, my show, Magic Universe with Sharonah, is always on the second Sunday and fourth Sunday of each and every month. Okay? So now we're going to get to the exciting part. We are going to be able to take some phone calls. So let me go over to the switchboard, and I'm going to take a look and see who has has been waiting the longest, so I have to go in order, and who has their hand up on the switchboard. So I am going to, hi, to area code 856. I hear someone there. What is your name and where are you calling from? Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What is your name and, hey, where are you calling from?
Rosemary from New Jersey.
Rosemary, is that correct? I love that name, Rosemary.
Right.
That is such a beautiful herb. And Rose and Mary or Marie, they're just such beautiful names. So thank you for calling in. I hope you've enjoying our show that we were doing. And how can we, what can we do for you today?
I have a lot going on, so whenever you pick up, trying to get stuff back under me and working and looking for work, and I don't know if I'm going to move to a different country or I'm staying put here and just say what I have there, let go and just be empty or whatever you pick up.
Okay,
I don't know which way I'm going.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get really clear on your question, because the clearer we get it, the better it is, as far as having a message come through. So let's see. We can pick on what is the energy around Rosemary Marie. We can do that, but can we get a little bit clearer as to? I'm shuffling my cards, so I know you were saying you're looking for. Are you looking for a change, a positive change?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what as I'm what's being whispered in my. I always say the angels are talking to me. And the first thing that came through as we were trying to get clarity on everything is they were whispering to me that they said, do not be afraid to make a change, okay, that there's a hesitation there. Regardless of how hard you perceive it to be, it can be fun if you allow it and let go of the resistance to it. So I'm getting that there's a change coming up in your life. And, open up to it. That's the first thing that the cards are saying. So if in any way that you have any fears there, it's saying open up to the change that I like to use the word the angels have you. So is that resonating with you? And I'm just going to grab another card to start to pull out. And what I'm getting is there's a big opportunity coming up for you in the spring. So is this something that resonates with you? My friend in New Jersey?
Yeah.
You're near. Yeah,
I'm
don't
in New
be
Jersey
afraid.
Right now.
Yeah, but there's a change coming up for you in the spring. And you and it's so interesting, this whole thing about change that's coming up for you. And what it's saying is the way to embrace this change is the way you think about it. Okay, that's what's holding you back. You've got to attach to any changes that come in that these are positive things that are propelling you towards something better. And choose your thoughts as far as how you think about these changes. Have no fear and trust that the universe is moving you towards something that is very beautiful and is what you seek. And what's interesting is I drew the next card that I pulled from you is one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. It's called the Ten of Cups, and it's about the happy people. They're under a rainbow, and they're in a beautiful place. So you're moving toward it. Don't let your negative thoughts hold you back.
Yeah, because they're not communicating with me, so I don't know who's paying for my ticket to go back home, so he's not letting me know. That's why I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to go there or stay there, or he's moving here to me, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure which way I'm going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're, just everything that's happening right now, these changes, just really kind of open up your heart to it and embrace it, attach positive meanings to it, and know that the universe has your back and that you're moving in the right direction.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in, and, please call in another month or so and tell us that you have moved to a happier, more fulfilling place that you are, happy to be in. Thank you for calling in. And I'm going to put you back in so you can listen, because it's funny, another call might come in that'll further answer your questions, because there is no mistake that you're here with us today and listening in on this. Okay, my dear, putting you back in so you can listen.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Love ya. Okay, let me see. Okay, I am going to go to area code 908. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from, my dear?
Isabella in New Jersey.
Oh my goodness, we have New Jersey is in the house. Hey, Isabella, my dear. I hope you're enjoying. Okay, there's a lot of noise in your background. So what I'm going to do, it's getting very noisy. I can't hear you. What is your
I'm
question?
Move to a different
and then
place.
I'll mute. Okay, because I can mute you after I get the question. So that, but now that's fine now. So what's going on, and what can we do for you today? You have the energy of all of our listeners helping you out and tuning in.
I was going to get an internship, and I was wondering what field I should go into and what would suit me.
Okay, you're in the internship, or you're looking for one?
I'm looking for one.
Okay. Are you doing any manifestation work around this? As far as are you clear about, what exactly you'd like to get out of this internship?
I would like to have a better idea of what career I would want to go into.
Okay, so you're not sure about the career. Okay, because right away what I'm getting is you need to find your passion, what lights up your heart, because that is the one of the most important things that we find, what serves us, but that doesn't mean that we need to be practical. We live in a practical universe. So sometimes we do find ourselves in a situation and an employment or internship, which, will help us pay the bills, okay? Also can, help us in terms of discovering what our passion is. But let me just, so you're not sure, I mean, what brings Isabella joy? And so I can get more feedback on what you're looking for as an internship, and just to kind of help steer you in that direction.
I like kids and teaching, but I also would like a job that would make more money than that.
Okay. Let me just get feedback there. Okay. One, as far as career, what I'm picking up on is, okay, it's so funny, like the angel message that keeps being whispered in my ear is that you are about to discover your life purpose. So the true thing that's going to be your life purpose, I mean, you sound, how old are you? I mean, you sound very young, so you've got a lot of life ahead of you. What I'm getting is you don't know what it is yet, and you're about to discover it, but it's coming, okay? And, not to have any fear. And also what I'm getting is abundance is coming into your life. And by abundance, that could be not only money and monetary things, but friends and people that will help you choose your path. And I'm also getting, in a way, kind of relaxed a little bit now. Not too wary, just to kind of float with the universe. And as far as choosing your path, I know you said you're right now. You said that you were into teaching. Do you have a teaching degree?
No, I work at a youth center with kids.
Okay. So, because I see that, I definitely see the kids around you that in some kind of teaching role. But what I keep getting over and over again is you're about to discover what it is that brings you joy, okay? And I would right now, I would continue. I mean, I'm getting a lot of cards that have to do with study and school, okay? You need to keep studying as they say, in a lot of careers, you need to keep studying your craft and becoming better at it. And, just really embrace the opportunities that are being presented to you. And if you do have an opportunity to take classes, that would be a really, really good thing for you. And what you're experiencing right now is you're kind of, you're in like a balancing act and, trying to figure out where you need to put your energy. But what I'm getting is, maybe just relax, at least for and meditate. Mm-hmm. And it's going to happen. You are young, and, as they say, the world is yours. And, you've got, the universe definitely has your back, and is definitely showering you with, blessings, and it's flowing to you. So I hope that helps, Isabella. I hope that answers some of your questions. Are you going to be making a decision in the next few days on this, or is this something that you have a little time?
I have to make a decision by June.
Okay. Well, you've got time to really meditate on it. It's funny. I keep getting cards to come out. Meditate on this. The young people in teaching keeps coming up in terms of, a career. But it's interesting. It's still going to be something that's highly creative. So you might find that in addition to doing one career, you might be doing two careers at the same time in the beginning. And, feeding two life purposes. But you have such blessings around you. You should not have any fear. That's what I'm getting, my dear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella. Well, I know that good things will be coming your way. And thank you for calling in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to put you back so you can listen in. And let's see if we have any more calls. I'm just going to go. I didn't go into the I got to go into the message room and see if we have anybody in the chat room who is also in there that is chatting away. Looking for that into that room. Let's see. I wanted to. I actually did not tell everyone the card that I pulled for today, and I thought it was really one of the things that I thought was really powerful was I pulled the card for it's called the card as I was talking earlier with Victoria. We were talking about the number 4, and I pulled the Emperor card. I didn't do the numerology today, but let's go with the number 4 and the card. And the card is the Emperor, and it's about being a leader who is just and good to his people, and embraces change and leads with strength and focus and for the good of his nation. And I immediately thought about what's going on in the world today and how we are looking for leaders that lead us into the changes that are coming up in the world, and who are visionaries and able to bring creative ideas into action, and who are leaders who can lead us into a divine plan for the world. And what I'm seeing is, with all of the turmoil that is going on in the world today, that there's some leaders who are not so good, but the leaders who have a heart and have a vision, and we have a few of those today in this country, with President Biden, and also with the President of the Ukraine. What I'm getting is the card that says the leaders are going to lead us into a wondrous change is going to come, and great joy, and that the world is beginning a new cycle that will be a miracle. So I was just kind of like, when I pull those cards for today's reading, they really kind of said it all. I said, I can't really say more than this. This is this is what we need to hear. So I thought that was really wonderful. And this whole connection that we are all part of we are all in this together. And we can bring forth the change that we need. So I love that. So anyhow, it looks like we are running out of time today. So I just want to let everyone know I'm so happy that you were here with me today. And I will be back in 2 weeks on Sunday, March the 13th, same time, same station, and I will have a special guest with me at that show. His name is Scott Martin, and I will also, if you want to call in and say hello, I will be also doing free tarot readings and open lines. And so I just want to let you know that this is your magical mama, Sharonah Rapseik. Oh, and I also want to thank my special guest, Victoria Constantino, for joining us today. And we had such a beautiful discussion about the moon. So please go out there and look at that moon. You're going to like what you see. And most importantly, I want to thank my listeners. You're my friends. You're my family for joining me here today. And the word for this year, I drew a word that I want to use to define 2022. My goodness, this is the year of the twos. And that word is gratitude. And, if we can just every day when you wake up, say thank you. It'll change your day. And you can also say thank you before you go to bed at night. And say thank you and know that you are to be thankful that the universe has your back, okay? You are here. You're meant to be here, and this is a glorious moment. And the need to say to yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you're getting ready to brush your teeth, know that your words that you say to yourself create. So say to yourself, I am strong, I am confident, I am magical, I am enough, I am beautiful, and I deserve the best. And I deserve love and magic. And I urge you, and not forget that everything is energy. The universe, including you and me. And remember, focus on what's positive in your life, and you will attract even more positive situations because we live in a magical universe. Okay, and remember, keep your energy and your vibrations high and step into your true magic. So until we meet again, I am wishing you countless blessings and high vibrations. I love you all. Bye.